Hi, Assalamualaikum. My name is NORHANA HUMAIRA binti SHAHRULNIZAM. My ID's number is BME2307036. Today, my group would like to present, due to our assignment ECO 2023 about Malaysian inflation. Alright, before I start, I would like to introduce about my team members, which is BALQIS binti Mama ASYRAF and also DINA SOFIEA NORAZIZAD. So now we move to the first part. But before I start, I would like to explain a little bit about inflation. So what is inflation? Inflation can be defined as a persistent and sustained increase in the aggregate or average price level of products and services in an economy. So this is the graph of inflation in Malaysia by Department of Statistics Malaysia. For general, Malaysia inflation in February 2024 increased by 1.8% with the index recording 132.1 compared to 129.8 in the same month of the previous year. So what is the primary factors expected to contribute to the increase in inflation of Malaysia in 2024? So an increase from 2.0% in January 2024 to 2.7% for housing, water, electricity, gas and other fuels was contributed by the main subset of water supply and various services related to residences at 29.7% compared to January 9.3%. So this followed the implementation of water tariff adjustment according to the tariff setting mechanism TSM for domestic categories in Peninsular Malaysia and Labuan, which come into force on February 1 to 2024. Other than that, the increase in transportation inflation was contributed by the main subset of private transportation equipment management, which increased by 1.3% from 1.2% in January. For public transportation services, from negative 4.5% to 1.7%. So next, as you can see here, this is the graph of inflation by category. For the food and beverage group, which contribute 29.8% of the total PPI ratio, recorded a lower increase of 1.9% in February from 2.0 in January 2024. And then the increase in the grain and grain products shopping class to 2.5 in February was contributed by imported fragrant rice and basmati rice, which respectively increased by 6.3 and 6.3% and 1.0% from January 2024. And then inflation in the milk and dairy products and egg shopping class recorded an increase 2.3 in February. A lower increase was recorded by the milk and flour shopping item of negative 0.8%. And next, for the meat shopping class rate increased slowly to 0.5% in February 24 from 1.4 in January. In addition, inflation for the vegetable shopping category recorded a decline to negative 0.8 due to increasingly stable supplies and reduced demand among users. However, garlic and large shallots increased by 28.5% from 27.3% and 22.6% from 1.8% respectively. Maybe most probably inflation in Malaysia increased because of the increase in domestic demand. If the economy is growing strongly and domestic demand is increasing, this could exert inflationary pressure due to increases in consumption and investment. Other than that, increased production costs also can be a factors of inflation, such as increases in raw material price or labor costs can cause manufacturers to increase the price of their products to maintain their profit margins, which in turn can drive inflation. I think that's all for me. So now I will pass to the next presenter, which is Sophia.
Hi, my name is Dina Sophia NORAZIZAD and my ID number is BME2307068. And I'm going to continue the presentation with question number 2. The question is, identify and explain the types of inflation based on the article. The answer is, the type of inflation based on the article is mainly to cost-push inflation. Cost-push inflation occurs when the overall prices of goods and services increase due to rising production costs, including higher wages and raw material expenses. This type of inflation is prompted by elevated production costs, leading to a reduction in aggregate supply within the economy. Consequently, the heightened costs of production are transferred to consumer, resulting in cost-push inflation. So next, question number 3. Explain the policy measure that could be effective in controlling rising inflation in Malaysia based on the article. The answer is, to effectively control rising inflation in Malaysia, policymakers could implement a combination of contractionary monetary policy and targeted direct controls. To tightening the money supply or increasing interest rate would curb excessive spending, while direct measures like price control on fuel and targeted subsidies could address specific inflationary pressure. This dual approach will offer a balanced strategy to stabilize prices and support economic growth.
So last question is question 4. The question is, describe the potential consequences of rising inflation of the affordability of essential goods and services in Malaysia. So you have to answer, which is first, erodes purchasing powers, increased cost of living, and change in consumer behavior. Okay, so first is erodes purchasing powers. As inflation rises, the purchasing powers of consumers diminish. This means that the same amount of money buy fewer goods and services than before. Essential items such as food, housing, healthcare, and education become more expensive, especially for lower income families who spend a larger proportion of their income on these necessities. Consumers lose purchasing power regardless of what the inflation rate is, whether it is 2% or 4%. They simply lose it faster at the higher rate. Second is increased cost of living. The overall cost of living increased with this inflation. This affects not only day-to-day expenses like groceries and transportations, but also utilities like electric, natural gas, and also water, and also other essential services. As prices rise, households may have to cut back non-essential spending, which can reduce their quality of life. The third one is change in consumer behavior. Inflation reduces the spending power of consumer as prices quickly rise. Individuals have less discretionary income and tend to spend less money on splurges or luxury products. Consumers also will prioritizing essential goods and services and cutting back on discretionary spendings. This shift can affect businesses, particularly those in non-essential sectors, and potentially leading to reduced economic growth and job losses. Okay, that's all from us. Thanks for hearing it, and